known him for several years. And so here you go.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, I'm old Jim Cathey. I hooked onto that moniker a long time ago, and I thought it's kind of fit, kind of ties into my character a little bit. So I'm glad you're here. This is a good meeting, and the opportunities to do our poetry and our songs and stuff is super when we have somebody that enjoys listening to us. This morning, I'd like to do a poem by a Lubbock, Texas cowboy poet named Andy Hedges. Andy does some poetry, does a lot of singing, and this was a poem that I really liked. I talked to him, and he gave me permission to use his poem. It's called Texas Braggin. On a roundup in the spring, way back in '82, a Texas man was a-riding with some northern buckaroos. Now this Lone Star cowboy was all that you'd expect from any Texas puncher, with a little self-respect. He'd say, in Texas, everything is better and bigger. The punchers are all punchier, and near as I can figure, the hosses all run faster. The cattle are all rougher. The rivers all run wider, and the work's a whole lot tougher. Now he commenced to bragging every day of every week, till it riled them buckaroos just to hear him speak. So, after talking it over, they come to decide they'd have to somehow damage this bragging cowboy's pride. But since he'd said them Texans was so tough, they'd have to pull a trick to call this puncher's bluff. So one day they was a-fording the river, and they happened to cross a bunch of snapping turtles hiding in the moss. So they put them snapping turtles in his bedroll, and they throwed it back on the wagon. Figured that ought to stop his never-ending bragging. And that night, they got them bedrolls out, they laid them on the ground, and them buckaroos all walked over, and they kind of gathered round to watch him stick his feet down in that roll, figuring it ought to be a pretty funny show. And sure enough, he stuck his feet in, why, he snapped them right back out, and he had a kind of a funny look on his snout. He flipped that bedroll open, and he yelled out to the crew, well, look here, boys, bed bugs, and little bitty ones too.